This story starts with our protagonist talking to her fiancé in a garden. He suddenly tells her that they should break off their engagement, and she is stunned. They were currently at a party thrown to celebrate the return of a duke's second son. And while the party is in full bloom, our protagonist is facing a very tough situation. She is Elle de Blois, a noble, and on her insistence, her fiancé, Francois, repeats that he does not want to marry her now. Elle asks him what he means by that, and he replies that he does not love her anymore. But that is not the complete truth. A woman named Adelaide comes out of the party hall and tells Francois to be honest. He is in love with her now. Elle is shocked, and the shameless Adelaide says that she and Francois are together now. She even asks the poor girl to congratulate them. But this is too much nonsense for Elle to handle. She thinks that they were too shameless. She was not crazy enough to congratulate them. Rather, she was just crazy enough to sucker punch Francois in the diaphragm and knock the wind out of his lungs. As Elle walks away after punching her former fiancé, Adelaide starts shouting at her. She asks what she is doing. Now it is time for Elle to be the one who breaks up their relationship. She tells Francois that since she knows about his affair now, she will be the one to break off their engagement. She leaves, asking him to tell the Marquis about it on his own, and he should definitely include the reason the engagement was called off. As Adelaide keeps shouting at her and telling her to stop, Elle does not stop. She goes back to the party, and some of her friends ask her why she was alone. She had gone to the garden with Francois, but he was nowhere to be seen. Elle tells them that she broke off their engagement with a sad smile. The girls are shocked, and then they realize that Elle must be heartbroken. So they do what any friend would do in such a case. They congratulate Elle for getting her freedom back and give her a drink, saying alcohol is the best thing at times like these. They tell her to drink to her heart's content today. And even though Elle is hesitant, she gives in to her friend's request and starts drinking. But then one of her friends says that it was really hard to greet Sir Theodore, the main character of today's party. For years he had not shown his face to the world, but now he had suddenly returned. Elle's friend asks her if she wasn't classmates with him at the military academy. She wants to know what he was like back then. And more than that, she is interested in the rumors about him being a crazy dog. Elle is about to tell her that she did not know Theo well when she spots Francois and Adelaide coming to the party with linked arms. She is left speechless at their shamelessness, and even her friends think so. But hearing their words further depresses Elle. She had always had a vague feeling about this. When she and Francois first met Adelaide, he could not take his eyes off her, who was pretty and well-dressed. Elle thinks that perhaps it was because she willfully wanted to ignore his actions. He was her best friend and fiancé, and she wanted to keep him at all costs. She was an idiot, clinging on to him when he did not value her at all. But then she thinks of their first encounter. She was a rookie knight returning from a mission. Francois was there to greet her and congratulate her on a safe return. He offered his hand, but Elle hesitated because her hands were dirty. But he held her hand anyway, saying that she should not worry about it. He smiled brightly, saying that it was his honor to meet a wonderful person like her. And because of that bright smile, Elle fell in love with him. She suddenly comes to her senses and realizes that she had too many drinks. Overcome with grief, she runs away from the party. As Elle runs through the garden, she thinks that if she had any idea what would happen in the future, she would not have wanted to engage with Francois. It was inevitable for people to change, but she never expected him to betray her so badly. Elle is crying, hoping that if she could turn back time, she would go back and stop herself from falling in love with his words and smile. But she sprains her ankle and is forced to stop. Elle cries, thinking that if she gets the chance to change the past, she will never love Francois. She prays and begs God to hear her request. She wants to go back to that day, and thinking that, Elle falls asleep in the garden. But then she finds herself in chains. There was a man in front of her, and he was going to execute her. Elle is shocked to find herself in this situation. She wonders what she did wrong. She hopes that this is a dream because she does not want to die like this. She screams, and it turns out that it really was a dream. As she tells the attackers to stop, someone tries to calm her down. Elle has woken up now, and she is glad that it was just a dream. But who is the one trying to calm her down? Someone is caressing her cheek while asking her if she had a bad dream. Then he says that it was okay because he was by her side now. As Elle slowly opens her eyes, she realizes that this voice is one she has heard before, and then she suddenly springs up, shocked at what she sees. She asks the man what she was doing with him and why she was in a stranger's bedroom. The man in front of her is Theo, the star of last night's party. Elle thinks that she just had a nightmare, and now she's in another one. Being with the crazy dog, Theo, was the same as having a bad dream. And then he greets Elle, calling her master. Elle still does not understand what is happening. The last thing she remembered was breaking off her engagement and getting drunk. And now she was in the bedroom of this crazy person. Theodore de Clermont was the second son of the famous hero knight, Duke Clermont, and his mother was the younger sister of the emperor. Now that Elle has thought about what happened at the party, she is relieved that her clothes are still the same. Nothing had happened between them while she was unconscious. She then asks Theo what happened, and he says that she was unconscious in the garden and he brought her here. Elle curses herself for drinking so much that someone could take her to his bedroom. If anyone saw that happening, it would be an awful thing. But at least the one who saved her was someone she knew. They were together at the military academy, but they were never close. And during their knight's inauguration ceremony, Theo went berserk and killed a lot of people. That is why he earned the nickname Crazy Dog. Now Elle wants to know why he saved her. And the bigger problem is why he keeps calling her master. She is still awkward and subtly tries to verify that nothing really happened between them last night. Theo notices that too, and he commends Elle for being so cautious. He adds that he would be very disappointed with her if she was not careful. And now Elle is scared as he pins her against the bed. Theo says that did not do anything. He had been waiting for this for so long. What was another night? Elle is getting creeped out, and Theo says that she can look forward to what they couldn't do yesterday. He slowly moves closer to Elle, and she is at a loss. Even though Theo had saved her yesterday, this behavior was unacceptable. Surprisingly, he did not kiss her. Instead, he was breathing heavily down her neck, saying that he wanted to do it with her. But Elle shoves him away and runs away, screaming. Her face is red from what she just went through. She had already seen a lot of crazy things yesterday, and this was the last thing she could bear. And Theo smiles, saying that he will see her again soon. Elle goes back to her knight's quarters, and the only servant, her nanny, is shocked to see her in this state. She had been missing all night, and she was now reeking of alcohol. Her face is red, and as the nanny asks her if anything is wrong, Elle knows that telling the truth would not be a wise decision. She could not say that she was in a bedroom with Theo, especially after she broke her engagement. It was not going to be good, even though nothing happened between them. Elle says that nothing happened and gets ready for work. The nanny helps her get ready, and she says that Elle looks really dignified today. She says that there was no knight better at subjugation than her in the entire Round Empire. Elle was not just a noble woman, she was a knight of the Empire and the deputy commander of the November Knights. She was the heir of the Blua family, which protected the royal family. Elle tells her nanny that she cannot stay sad forever, but she still needs time to process what happened in the morning. She dismisses it as a nightmare because of the shock of losing her fiancé. Elle goes to the knight's headquarters and does some light practice. Another knight named Morris approaches her. He was the son of her mother's lieutenant, and they grew up together like siblings. Morris compliments Elle, saying that she looked like her mother during the practice. Another knight joins their group, a cheerful and outspoken woman named Laverne. She is surprised to see that Elle is in better condition than she thought. She had heard that Elle drank a lot at yesterday's party, but that was to be expected from the best drinker in all of November Nights. Elle had expected this reaction from Laverne, a knight well known for her information-gathering abilities. But she was always reckless and had not been promoted for years. She was not at the party, yet the news had reached her. But then Laverne is about to tell her something else. She says that Elle is in for big trouble now. But before she can explain the details to her, Morris shuts her up. Elle asks him what's going on. He feigns ignorance, but Elle looks menacing, and Morris knows better than to lie to her. He says that it was supposed to be a secret, but Laverne ruined it. For now, Elle should go to her office and check it out. Her main task was field work, but she could not keep postponing the administrative work. With that, Morris leaves, and Laverne tags along. Elle has a bad feeling that something unpleasant is going on in the office, But as she reaches her office, there seems to be nothing new. But there was something that was suspicious. Her office was perfectly organized and clean, and that should not be the case with her administrative work all piled up on her desk. As she is wondering about it, someone approaches her from behind, and as Elle turns back, she is shocked to see a familiar face. The man says that he had already told her that they would meet again, and now it was time for him to introduce himself formally. He had been appointed assistant to the deputy commander last week. It was none other than Theo, who kisses Elle's hand as he greets her. He expresses his desire to work with her and once again calls Elle master. Elle is stunned, and she immediately rushes to the commander's office. She demands to know about her new assistant, but the commander is chilling and tells her that she came right on time. The position of the deputy commander's assistant had been vacant for a long time, which was not a good thing. Elle shouts, "How could they appoint an assistant without consulting her first? And if it were up to her, she would never choose that crazy man." The commander laughs and says that he understands Elle's feelings, but he also believes in her capabilities. Elle is confused, and the commander elaborates. Despite his past actions, Theo was a part of the imperial family, and it was not a bad thing to have him as an assistant. But if the person in charge of him made a mistake, their lives could be forfeited. Elle is annoyed that her commander is putting her in a difficult position. She asks him to change his decisions, but the commander cannot do it now. Everything has been processed. Elle is shocked and asks, "When did things start happening so quickly?" But then she notices the bottles in the commander's wine rack. It was one of the finest wines in the entire empire. It was very rare and precious, too. And the commander was someone who always drank cheap alcohol. It was unlikely for him to buy these rare wines. The commander leaves and tells Elle to keep working hard. But now she has put the puzzle together. The region where this wine came from was in the territory of Duke Clermont. He must have known that the commander was a heavy drinker and bribed him. Elle is burning with rage, and Laverne, who was also in the office, tells her that she will also take her leave now. But as Elle puts her hand on Laverne's shoulder, the latter freaks out. Elle looks like a ghost haunting Laverne, and she asks her if she already knew about it. Laverne panics and replies that she does not know, but Elle does not believe her. She says that Laverne knows everything. People said that she even knew the color of the Empress's underwear. But Laverne says that these were just exaggerated rumors. On top of that, she was not interested in other women's underwear. She shouts that she would rather know about the color of Morris's underwear today. But that statement came out with terrible timing. Morris had just come to the office and he dropped the documents he was carrying out of shock. Laverne tries to tell him that this was all a misunderstanding, but Elle steps forward menacingly. She is ready to thrash him, asking if he already knew everything. As Laverne signals him not to say anything to Elle, Morris says that he came in at the wrong time. He decides to tell her what he knows. Last night, they got an official notice about an urgent matter. They could have postponed it if it was an ordinary notice, but it had the signature of the imperial family on it. Elle is shocked that the imperial family intervened in the night's affairs. And while she is busy analyzing the situation, Laverne tries to clear up the misunderstanding with Morris, who is now fearful for his privacy. Elle thinks that it was done on purpose while she was away from her office, and getting the schedule of the deputy commander was not an easy thing. And if there was someone who could read Elle's schedule and help Theodore just for the sake of fun, only one name came to Elle's mind. She goes to meet the person she suspects, who is also the princess she serves. The princess was also waiting for Elle to come to her. As Elle greets her, the princess asks if she liked her gift. And now Elle's doubts are confirmed. The princess was the culprit. Even at a young age, the princess was equipped with all the skills to make her the next empress. She was skilled in military tactics, politics, and diplomacy. Her name was Maria Claire, but she was called Princess Pippin. Elle wonders if Theo really was a gift. She wonders how Princess Pippin could give her own cousin as a gift, and on top of that, he was a really burdensome person. The princess finds Elle's response unsatisfying. She had hoped for her to be more aggressive, and in fact, Elle is really holding back her aggression. But the princess smiles and says that it really was a gift for her broken engagement. Now, Elle is even more furious. It seems Princess Pippin was counting on her to end her own engagement. Then she congratulates Elle, saying that she is going to be in the news headlines soon. She would be titled The Wicked Woman Who Interfered in the Love Story of the Century. Elle does not understand what that means, and Princess Pippin explains that the rumors had already spread. People were saying that Elle stole Francois from Adelaide. Elle snaps at this, saying that those rumors were completely baseless. The princess agrees. She also thinks that Adelaide did something nasty to turn things in her favor. And now, all the busybodies in the empire had something to gossip about. Elle bows her head in desperation. She was good friends with Adelaide once, and she cannot believe that she did this to her. But the princess tells Elle to look up at her. She says that when her knight's honor is damaged by such trivial things, she cannot stay silent. She is furious at the people who tried to tarnish her knight's name. Elle is touched, but as the princess starts talking about giving Theo to her as a gift, she is angry at her again. She asks what her broken engagement has to do with Theo, and the princess says that she really does not know anything. A scandal can be covered up with another scandal. And if the crazy dog of Claremont was directly under Elle's control, then all the people would forget about her broken engagement soon enough. Princess Pippin adds that it was a shame that Theo made a fuss on the day of the inauguration and lost his inheritance when he ran away. But now that he is back, Theo's mother, who is the princess's aunt, wants him to settle down. And the only person the princess can entrust him to is her lovely and loyal knight, Elle. The princess is using her acting skills to their full potential now. She cries, saying that her auntie pleaded with her, and since she was so soft-hearted, she had to agree. And Elle thinks that she was naive enough to fall for those fake tears once or twice in the past. The princess says that even her auntie thinks that Elle could handle Theo well. Now Elle thinks that the imperial family considered Theo a nuisance and needed a way to deal with him. Also, Elle needed something to cover her scandal. Their interests are aligned, and Elle thinks about taking the offer. But more than covering the scandal, she would like to stay alive and safe. That is why she refuses to take charge of Theo. The princess puts on an innocent expression and pleads with Elle to do it for her. But she is firm in her decision. The princess, however, has one last trick up her sleeve. She walks to Elle, offering to give her the only thing she likes, a 10% salary increase. Long story short, Elle could not refuse that offer. The princess managed to convince her with the salary increment, and Elle took it because of her family debt. But since it has already happened, she thinks it would be better to get a head start now. Elle enters her office and Theo welcomes her back. She immediately starts giving him some stern directions. In the future, if he disobeyed her orders, he would be reprimanded more strictly than the other knights. But Theo smiles, saying that he understands it. Elle is shocked. She was not expecting such a gentle response. During his cadet years, Theo was always sharp and discontent with commands. And it seems like being a knight-errant for a few years has changed him a lot. She wonders if it is something she could look forward to, but just as she turns her back to Theo, she feels a beast moving towards her with its jaws open. Elle turns back to find Theo right behind her. She wonders when he came here. He stretches his hands towards her hair and asks, what was she so surprised for? Elle orders him to keep his hands off her, and Theo reminds her that he is her dog. If she tries to push him away, he will get even more excited. But Elle tells him to shut up. She was the one who stopped him on the day he went out of control, and as long as she had decided to keep him by her side at the princess's request, she would not let anything like that happen again. Theo suddenly asks Elle if she is also afraid of Claremont's crazy dog. Elle asks this question to herself too, but there was something else she was afraid of. She tells Theo that she is not afraid of him. As a knight, she fears nothing other than her master, Princess Pippin. And Theo tells her that she should hold on to his leash in that case. Elle is confused and asks what he means by his leash, and he gently holds her hand and places it on his neck. He wants her to call him Theo instead of Sir Theodore from now on. This was the only leash for the crazy dog. Later that night, Elle has a terrible dream. She was chained on the scaffold with people cursing her and calling her a witch and a traitor. A man walked towards her, telling her that she would be executed for serial murder and treason. And just as he was about to hit her, Elle woke up in a cold sweat. It seems that this dream was something she had frequently. And now, she doesn't have much time to go back to sleep. Elle goes downstairs and her nanny is surprised to see her up so early. But she informs her about the dream. The nanny tells her to sit while she goes and prepares breakfast. Elle picks up the newspaper and the first page prominently displays the headline that Claremont's crazy dog was subordinate to El de Blua. As Princess Pippin had said, her broken engagement was forgotten easily. But as Elle thinks about the crazy man who called her master, she gets even more stressed out. She does not even want to go to work now. The nanny serves her breakfast, and Elle asks her if she has ever dreamed of being executed. The nanny is shocked, but says that she does not remember her dreams. But she had heard that a dream related to death was a lucky one, and she tells Elle not to worry too much about a dream. Elle also thinks that the reason she has been getting nightmares recently is because of her stress. She will feel better if she eats well and regains her strength. She then goes to the knight's headquarters. Morris is reading a book, and he says that 20 minutes have already passed. Elle replies that she also knows this. It was the second day since Theo became her assistant, and because of that, she was reluctant to go inside her own office. She had been standing in front of the door for 20 minutes, and Morris was just there to enjoy the drama. He laughs, asking how the brave Elle could be afraid of her assistant. Elle replies that she was really afraid of Theo, and Morris is surprised. She then suggests that they should exchange their assistants, and suddenly he realizes that he is getting late. He closes the book and gives it as a gift to Elle. It was titled, "There is no such thing as a bad dog." Elle is confused and asks why he is giving it to her. And as Morris leaves, he says that it will be useful to her someday. Elle is even more annoyed now, as her friends seemed very keen to make fun of her. But then Morris stops and tells Elle not to forget about the special event for knights that was going to happen today. And she is annoyed that something like that is going to happen today. She already has a lot on her plate, and she feels like she would go mad at this rate. She decides to stop hesitating and approaches the door. But Theo opens it from the inside and asks her why she is not coming in. Elle is startled, and then Theo wishes her good morning. Then she suddenly asks him a question she had in her mind for a while. Why was she his master? But without giving an answer, he tells her that she was doing it wrong. She should call him Theo and not Theodore. Elle plays along and repeats the question, calling him Theo this time. And he replies that it was because she was his master. Elle does not understand anything except the fact that he was avoiding her question on purpose. She asks him a lot of questions about being together at the academy, about using honorifics, and about joining under her. And Theo's answer to everything is the same. He says it was all because she was his master. Elle has had enough, and she snaps at him. She tells him that she does not care what he thinks about her. From now on, he should address her as Dame Elle. But Theo says that he does not want to do that. Elle is furious. She feels like she is really going to lose her mind because of this crazy man. With this, the video ends. We do not know about Theo's motivations, and neither do we have any ideas about Elle's family or why she has those bad dreams. But one thing is sure. Theo is obsessed with Elle to a fault. And what happens between them now? We will have to wait for the next video to find out. So if you want to watch more of this story, tell us in the comments. Leave a like on the video, and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.